So, a fact checker that works for the New Yorker, if you can call her a fact checker, her name is Talia Lavin. Apparently misidentified this ICE agent's tattoo on his left elbow, and she looked at it and she's like, "Oh, is this like a Nazi cross symbol, guys? Like, does anybody know?" And she put it out to her fans, and she has like something like 140,000 followers. So clearly, it got a lot of coverage and views. Even Ron Perlman, that actor, he hasn't really been in many movies recently, but I think he was Hellboy. But he came out and he tweeted it to his like 700,000 followers. So it got a lot of traction. And I remember seeing somebody else on it. I don't know if it was her or it might have been somebody else when this thing came out, and they were looking, their fans are like, "Guys, I'm still searching." And they were, for like, I don't know, 10 hours, they were pretending like they were searching to try to figure out if this really is a symbol. And this person had like 30,000 retweets or likes on their initial tweet, but they somehow just couldn't tell that. No, not one person came to them and told them that, hey, this is a military symbol, which I have a hard time believing. They were just playing stupid, like, make a bunch of idiots believe this, retract the story later on, and maybe a quarter of the people will see the retraction. The rest of the people will leave with the impression that ICE agents or ICE is hiring Nazis, right? So this is the disingenuous type of reporting that they do. And, there's even a quote from Ron Perlman near the end when he found out that it was fake that I thought was kind of interesting. He's like, "My apologies. I mistook the symbol on this man's arm before I actually knew the facts. So again, I apologize to the man in this picture for my mistake." He said, "Maybe it was the gusto, the relish this agency seems to project in their obsession to racially profile decent people." So he made a half apology where he comes in, he's like, "Yeah, but if you guys weren't so racist and profiling these colored people, then I wouldn't have assumed that he was a Nazi." But okay, the only people coming across the border, first of all, are brown. They're not white. Okay, so it's gonna look like they're stopping a lot of brown people and profiling a lot of brown people, but that is because there's a lot of brown people below the border of America. And this is the funny thing too. It's like, can you really get mad at people on the right for assuming like some explosion or a car running over a bunch of citizens happens to be a Muslim, when and then sometimes it turns out it isn't, and then you get all these leftists coming out, "Oh, see, it's because you're a racist, you're a bigot, you have all this hatred in your heart towards Muslims." Whereas it's like, no, they are more prone, more likely to run people over in white vans, and they're more likely to set bombs off in places and stuff. So you can't really blame people for having the impression that, oh, it's probably a Muslim who's doing it. Just like you yourself, because of the impression or the perception that you have of ICE detaining a lot of brown people and being racist and all this shit, that it's believable for you that Nazis or ICE would employ Nazis. So, apply this logic, the logic that you use in your apology, to people on the right in the future when they make a mistake or something, when they call out a problem and it ends up being wrong, and they're like, "Oh, actually he wasn't a Muslim, he was a white dude or an Asian dude, see, you're a bigot." But it's like, 9 times out of 10 he is. But first of all, but his example of ICE isn't even really a good comparison, because they are just enforcing the laws. And you have all these people coming out, and it's like, pretty much, this is like their argumentation. It's like, there should be no borders because Trump is breaking up parents, and this is really sad and bad. You know, it's him. It's his fault for breaking up these families. It's nobody else. It's like, okay, so what is the alternative? What is the alternative? Just to put them back across the border, because they'll just come right back over if you don't fix your laws, and or just to let them in. Let them in your country. Let them just roam free with their, potentially, maybe it's not even their fucking kid. Like, they're not proposing anything else to fix the solution, because they know what they really want. What they really want is just to give pretty much everybody blanket amnesty and let everybody cross the fucking border, right? Like, this is essentially what they want to do, but they're not going to come out and say it flat out, just like they're not going to come out and say they want to ban handguns and shotguns. You know, they want to get other things out of the way first, and then they can start being a lot more honest. And for illegal immigration, all this shit, it's like, once the demographics shift enough, then they'll start being way more honest when it comes to citizenship and what they think about, letting people over the border. They're going to be a lot more honest. In the past, they'd speak like, oh, we believe in borders, and we believe, and you see these things, Obama, how he's talking about border security and all this stuff in the past, but none of these guys believe it, other than Trump, because actions speak louder than words, right? If they really believed it, they wouldn't have Obama, wouldn't have and Bush wouldn't have given these illegals an easy pass, and wouldn't have let so many of them come into the country. So actions speak louder than words. And clearly Trump is just delivering on what all of these other people say that they're gonna do. Like the same thing with Israel. Like, I don't know about that, whether I completely agree with making it the capital or whatever, but at the same time, everybody said they were gonna do it. And he's the only one who does seem to follow through on what he says he's going to do, as long as he's not obstructed by Democrats or Republicans like fucking John McCain, who, I really hate this guy. Can't wait till he dies of fucking cancer. Like, he's come out just recently and flipped on the whole border thing. And he's like, oh, he used to be for zero tolerance policy and all this stuff, but now he's like, why are you splitting up families? You're horrible. This is Nazi-ish. Oh my God. It's like, man, you people, you voted to bomb children. You voted to kill innocent people for profit, for absolutely nothing. So it's like, I don't take any of these idiots seriously when they talk about, oh, you just want to see families broken up. You just and a lot of these kids, first of all, are unaccompanied minors. Right, so there's gonna be some families separated. Some of these people, you don't even know if they're actually their parents. They could be child fucking smugglers. And second of all, this is what happens with unfit parents. We take them away, right? That nobody has an issue when the state comes in and takes parents or kids away from their parents in the country, right? They have no issue with that. They have no issue. But when it's people breaking the law, coming into the country, now it's a big issue. It's like when somebody goes and robs a bank, like, do you let the kids come in prison with them and hang out and stay because you're going to separate families? And when the parent does rob the bank, do you let the kid keep the money and the profits from robbing the bank? No, you don't. What happens when a parent robs the bank, the bank gets the money back. The kids don't get to keep the money. But this is how the immigration system right now in America is going. Like, parents come in, they rob everything, and then the kids get to keep the spoils of it. And it's complete fucking bullshit. And now they're going to smear these people any way they can. Clearly, his fucking symbol was not a Nazi symbol. Like, this guy was in a wheelchair. He has no legs. His job is to, protect children, to stop abuse and harassment. So somebody who's actually doing something good for people is being demonized and all this shit. which is nonsense. You're gonna get some half-ass fucking apologies from these idiots, and then the other ones are not gonna see the retraction, and they're gonna be left with the impression that yeah, ICE is full of fucking Nazis, right? So this is just more propaganda from the media to convince the fucking normies who do not pay attention to what is actually going on, because this is what all of this propaganda is for right now. Like this stuff, the emotional abuse, or I mean, like the emotional manipulation. This is for the people who don't know much. This is for like people like in my family who don't know a lot about what's going on in politics. If they do watch the news, they'll pop into CNN and maybe occasionally or something CBC, and then they'll see crying kids in cages, like, they'll be like, oh my god, Trump is a monster, how could he be doing this? But they don't know all the context. They don't know like what doing this right now is going to prevent in the future. You need to stop it now so you can prevent more misery in the future, because if you just keep let it going the way it's going, like either they're all just going to overtake you, or there's going to be a lot more family separation going on in the future, because people are going to get fed up eventually, right? Like whether you're liberal or conservative, it's like the liberal idiots who are pushing for this and all this stuff, they are the ones who don't have to deal with it as much. They are the ones who live in their own segregated communities, right, filled with white people and stuff, who don't actually have to suffer the impacts. But once they do start to feel it, then they'll be like, okay, we need to fix this border thing, right? And a lot of people, even liberals, do support border control, but this is why the media is just focusing on this kid issue. They're not talking about anything else. It's just kids crying. This is Syria all over again, with gas kids and chemical gas or whatever, like showing us here, look at these gas children, we need to go into the Middle East and take fucking Assad out. We need to go here and take these people out. It's always the kids. But that's all I pretty much had to say. If you like my content, subscribe and have a good day. See ya.